Imagine this. You're one of the most talented football players in the world and you just signed the most expensive contract of all time. You go on to win one of the biggest trophies in Europe by scoring the winning goal, and to top it off, you win the most prestigious trophy in football, the World Cup. However, before you know it, you get involved with witchcraft doctors and are banned from playing the sport you trained your entire life for. But how did you get here? That's exactly what we're gonna find out today, by looking at the rise and controversial fall of one of the biggest talents of the past decade, Paul Pogba. He began his footballing career at 6 years old, playing for Roissy-en-Brie. With the Brazilian Ronaldo as his role model, he started playing as a forward, where he developed a lot of his technique and scoring ability. But as the years progressed, he slowly began settling in as a midfielder. After just 8 years, he already joined his first professional team, Le Havre. This team is pretty well known for their youth investment program. Players like Dimitri Payet and Riyad Mahrez made a name for themselves there. In 2009, Manchester United came knocking in order to get Pogba to join their youth team instead. This is where the first real controversy happened, which we will see more of in the later stages of his career. Le Havre had apparently signed a non-solicitation agreement with Pogba and his parents, and they accused both United and his parents of breaching those terms. In response, the English club threatened to sue them. After a judge appointed by FIFA got involved, Manchester were cleared of any wrongdoing and both clubs settled on an agreement behind closed doors. Now playing in England, Pogba mainly played for the under-18s. However, it wouldn't take long for him to get promoted to the first team by legendary manager Sir Alex Ferguson. He wouldn't get a whole lot of minutes yet, but he did make both his Premier League and Europa League debut in 2012. However, even though Ferguson previously stated that they shouldn't hold Pogba back because of his great ability, ultimately putting trust in the player, he didn't renew his contract for the 2012-2013 season. This led to the manager accusing Pogba of disrespecting the club. He even went as far as stating that if he carries on that way, he's probably better off doing it away from United. An insanely ironic statement if you know where the story is going. Instead of extending, Pogba signed for Italian giant Juventus on a 4-year deal. Here, he would get the chance to learn from some real midfield powerhouses like Arturo Vidal, Marchisio and Pirlo. He settled in quite well next to these three, and he even earned himself a starting spot in over half the games. His ability earned him the 2013 Golden Boy Award, because remember, he's only 20 years old at this point, already playing alongside some of the best midfielders in the world. He was described as a powerful, skillful and creative player, with an eye for goal and the spectacular. I mean, just take a look at some of these goals he scored. Truly insane. The following season he would solidify his starting spot, even having the most appearances of any Juventus player that season. He won his second consecutive Serie A title and even reached the semi-finals of the Champions League. The following years would be more of the same. He helped Juventus win 2 more league titles, 2 Italian Cups and another Italian Super Cup. Notably, during the 2015 Champions League, he assisted the winning goal to Morata that knocked out Real Madrid. Because of this, Juventus reached the finals for the first time in over a decade. Unfortunately for them, that insane Barcelona team proved too much for them, and they lost the game 3-1. In 2016, Manchester United came knocking again. Their best midfielders in Scholes, Giggs and Carrick had since left, and they saw Pogba as the perfect opportunity to put the pieces back together. They paid Juventus the insane record-breaking fee of 105 million euros, all to get Pogba back from the club they lost him to for free. Buy high, sell low, I guess. Nevertheless, in his first season back in England, he got quite a lot of criticism because of his apparent lack of discipline. Manager Jose Mourinho was quick to defend him, by saying that football Einsteins were too quick to judge the player. Mourinho's trust wasn't misplaced, as United reached the final of the Europa League that same season. It was none other than Paul Pogba who scored the game-winning goal that led to United winning one of their last relevant pieces of silverware. After being named the best young player in the 2014 World Cup, it was now time for him to prove himself again on the biggest international stage, namely the 2018 World Cup. He formed the famous double pivot with N'Golo Kanté, making sure the ball transitioned from defense into the feet of magicians Mbappé and Griezmann. This midfield setup proved very successful, as France beat the likes of Argentina and Belgium in order to reach the final, in which they faced Croatia. Pogba scored from outside the box to make it 3-1, ultimately winning France the World Cup as the game ended 4-2. Unfortunately, this World Cup victory was the last real achievement of his career. The previous criticism about his discipline persisted, and at this point, even his relationship with Mourinho was starting to get strained. He spent more and more time on the bench, with Scott McTominay even being favoured by the coach and was rumoured to leave United again, barely 2.5 years after the record-breaking 105 million euro fee. A mix of inconsistent performances, injuries and rising criticism led to United not renewing his contract beyond the 2021-2022 season. In a very unexpected turn of events, Juventus Juventus announced that Pogba signed a new 4-year deal with them. This might have been a chance to regain his lost reputation, but unfortunately he suffered a knee injury that ruled him out for at least half a year. When he finally recovered, he was yet again dropped by the manager because of disciplinary reasons. When he eventually returned to the starting lineup, he suffered another injury, just 23 minutes into the game, ruling him out for the remainder of the season. That same season, he would be involved in some crazy controversies. Apparently, Pogba revealed to French authorities that he was the victim of an extortion plot. He was allegedly held at gunpoint and asked to hand over 13 million euros for past services, including the consultation of witchcraft doctors. They were supposedly used to cast a spell on his French teammate Mbappe to hinder his performances, although Pogba himself denies this. Unbeknownst to him, the worst was arguably yet to come for the Frenchman, as he was later suspended from playing due to a failed drug test. Another sample was found that contained non-endogenous testosterone metabolites, leading to the Italian Anti-Doping National Tribunal banning Pogba for 4 whole years. At the time of making this video, he's already 31 years old. Combined with him having stated in the past that he's ready to quit football, it seems very unlikely we will ever see him play football again, especially not at the top level. It's a shame we never got to see him fulfill his true potential. One can only wonder what could have been if he had a better mentality and better luck with injuries. But instead, his career was cut short before he was able to create a real long-lasting legacy. From being the best young player in the world to getting banned because of failed doping tests, it's truly a sad decline that should serve as a lesson to all aspiring young football players. If you want to learn more about a player that stayed clean from not only doping but also any red cards while being a crazy tackler, check out this video about Philippe Lam.